Okay, what we're going to do, we're going through the New Deal. This is what we went through yesterday. Okay, we looked at 32, 33, worst years of the Depression, most bank failures, most homes foreclosed, 12,000 jobs lost a day. 12,000 a day, 12,000 times 365, a lot. Okay, 25% of people looking for a job that can't find a job. Okay, very unhappy America. We have the presidential election of 32. Okay. We talked about this yesterday. He promoted the trickle down, give the tax breaks and the money at the top, and it'll hopefully trickle down to everyone else, versus the Democrat Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Okay, the election went a little bit like this. The red is Roosevelt. Okay, not close. Now, Roosevelt comes in and he promises people a new deal to get their feet back on the ground. Okay, the Depression was horrible for everybody. Okay, and he comes in and says, you know what, we can fix that. I can fix that. Just let me do my thing. Okay, and really he's coming in and looking at three ways to fix the problems. First one, relief. Okay, immediate, quick, directly to the needy. Okay, you think about, you have a headache, you need some relief. You take aspirin, it's good and it's gone. Is that going to fix the problem forever? No. Okay. Recovery. These are programs to try to stimulate the economy. Okay. You think of a few years back they had cash for clunkers. All right. You took an old crappy car, you pushed it, towed it, whatever, to a dealership. They give you $5,000. That is making consumers, you guys, people that buy stuff, the demand goes up. Remember, two things in demand. Desire and the power. People always have the desire. People didn't have the power. Recovery programs try to fix that. All right. Reform is a complete fixing of the problems. It's permanent, to prevent a future depression. We haven't had a Great Depression. There's only one. We haven't had one since. So a lot of these programs you're going to recognize they're still around today. So you have relief, quick, to the point. Recovery, try to help from the bottom up to get people buying stuff, and reform, it's a complete fix of the problem so it doesn't happen again. Okay. What is the problem with bank runs? We'll look at this tomorrow. If you want to pause it and figure out the answer, that's great. Okay. So his first 100 days, passes 15 laws in 100 days. That is absurd. I mean, that is a remarkably high number. He's got Democrats control the House of Representatives, Democrats control Congress. He's a president, he's a Democrat, so he can just push stuff through. People are signing it, passing it, and they say, we need to fix this problem. Okay? The first day after he becomes president, okay? So he gets inaugurated the next day. He orders something called a bank holiday. Okay? You think, hey, it's great, yeah, we got the day off. No. What he does is he issues an executive order that shuts down every single bank in the United States. Okay? Why would you do that? Well, we looked at the problem with bank runs. Now people can't take their money out. All right. This gives time for the government to come, issue confidence to people. They can inspect banks. Okay. And when people are still making money, the few people that still have jobs, they're saving their money. And then in 8 days when the banks reopen, they put it in, and you see deposits are more than what people are taking out, which is how banks can survive. Okay. Again, this is day one. All right. First New Deal Act, we're going to look at a lot of these, okay? The Emergency Banking Relief Act, just as it sounds, the Treasury Department can go in, they check the books, they make sure that your bank is doing things that you're supposed to be doing, okay? You are a sound bank, and people start to have confidence in the banks, okay? Banking systems are very important to our economy, all right? And if we just let the banks fail, that's not good, okay? Now, we look at banking. Now, when you guys go deposit your money in the bank, you don't have to worry that the bank is going to collapse and you're going to lose your money because of something called the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. What this does is it insures people's money in their bank accounts up to $5,000. Okay? Now, today, this number is $250,000. So if you have up to $250,000 in a bank and the bank collapses, it goes under, the government is going to give you your money back. Okay? The SEC is going to look at regulating the stock market. We saw inflated prices. There was no rules. I mean, it was literally like the wild, wild west. People could trade stuff for whatever price they wanted, ripping people off, inflation, speculation, buying on margin. There were no rules, and we saw what happened. Okay. Now, problems with the farms. All right. They have too much stuff. They can't sell it. This is a problem. Now, we'll look at this tomorrow. If supply goes up, if supply goes down, what happens to price? Okay, supply goes down, price goes up. Okay, now the the farmers, okay, something called the AAA, Agricultural Adjustment Act. What they do is they want farmers to actually lower the production. Okay, thousands of pigs slaughtered, thrown away, thousands of acres of fields not farmed on. Okay, because you think, what? People are starving. People are in soup kitchens. What the heck is going on? You're throwing away good meat. This is to help the farmers. So what they do is they lower the supply, so there's less stuff. What's that going to do to the price? Pushes it up. So they actually paid the farmers to lower production. Seems crazy. It ends up being ruled unconstitutional, but it does help farmers get their prices up. Okay. Now, again, how did the AAA try to help farmers? We'll look at this tomorrow. Okay. Now, the CCC, we have all of these are work projects, okay, to help people recover. What the CCC does, it takes 3 million young men, okay, 18 to 25, looking for work. What it does is it puts them in kind of like a camp. All right, in mostly rural areas. They're planting trees, they're digging ditches, they're fixing parks, roads, conservation, environmental work. Okay, they get $30 a month. All right, so you work out and you get your meals paid for, you get housing paid for, you're doing something. Of that 30, 25 goes home to your family. Now people say, what the heck, $5? Why would you work for $5? It's about sustaining that family and making men get to work and feel like they have some sort of dignity and they're doing something to help the United States. Okay, so again, you're 18 to 25, you don't have a job, you sign up for the CCC. We had the CCC here in Wisconsin, up north, these camps, building these parks, fixing things up. Really a great program. Okay. Other programs, PWA, CWA, there's a lot of these. It sounds like it's called alphabet soup. These are all programs, public jobs to get people working. Okay, you see this one, building roads, schools, paying teachers, creating jobs for the states. Okay, recovery jobs. All right, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. Now, poor in cities, okay? There is a lot of poor. We see hobos and shanty towns and these Hoovervilles, and there's no system of direct relief. Well, the Federal Emergency Relief Act takes care of this. $500 million, direct relief for the needy. Okay, this is similar to today's welfare type program. You had to show extreme need. Okay, you get money for food, for clothes, and it's that relief. It's direct. It's the aspirin. You got a headache? Here you go. Let's just fix it for a little bit. All right, now go find a job, and this will help you get your feet back on the ground. And we talked about this yesterday. Of whose job is it to do this? Okay, Hoover, it's individuals. FDR, the government. Okay, very different philosophy. Now, how in the world are we going to pay for all this? All right, the government spends money. Where do they get it? From you, from your taxes. Okay, are they going to raise taxes in the Great Depression? No, people don't have jobs. Okay, so how are they going to do it? They're going to go into debt. Okay, and the New Deal starts to do something called deficit spending. Say it with me. Deficit spending. Okay, you're spending more money than you're taking in. Now, what this is going to do to the debt goes up a lot. Okay, today our debt is $16 trillion. Remember, stacks, pallets of $100 bills, the size of a football field, 32 stacks high. Okay, that's because we deficit spend today. We spend more than we take in. Okay, and this is how the New Deal is paid for. The thought that, okay, get people back to work, they'll start working, and when you start working, what do? You tax them. So the idea is that instead of a top down, you put the money in the bottom, people will work, you can tax them, and the money goes back to the government. Okay, two different philosophies. All right, now let's go on here. He has a second New Deal. First New Deal kind of gets things going. Now he has to go and kind of ramp it up a notch. All right. You look at this picture. What's wrong with this picture? We'll talk about this tomorrow in class. Okay. The world's highest standard of living. There's no way like the American way. What are they waiting in? A bread line for a soup kitchen, for free food. They're broke. Okay. And we'll talk about the irony of this picture tomorrow. Okay. Now, FDR did all these programs. He did more than anybody ever up to this time, and things didn't really pick up like he thought. Okay, by 1935, he says, okay, we need a second New Deal, more programs, ramp it up. The election in 36, okay, he wins by even a bigger margin of victory than the last time. And this is going to be the first time, this is important, that blacks vote Democratic. Blacks had always voted Republican up until this time because Republican was the party of Lincoln. Okay, Civil War, Lincoln, pretty important for black history. Now, African Americans are suffering especially during the Great Depression, and FDR is the guy to help them out with giving them money at the bottom. Okay, and blacks, the last election, 2008, blacks voted 95% Democratic. Okay, and this is the first time in 1936. Okay, we'll talk about this here, this new trend in Easter fashions, how to fix the farm industry. Here's the 36 election, all right, 523 to 8, not exactly close, all right, kind of like Mike Tyson fighting a baby, going to be over pretty quick, all right. Now, the second New Deal, the biggest one, the biggest, most important one, biggest, star this on your notes, the Social Security Act. This is around today. What it does, when you get old, you retire. You don't have a lot of money because you don't have a job. You retired, okay. What this does, insurance, unemployment compensation, gives you a pension, paycheck when you retire. Okay, this is still around today, and we're going to talk about why this could cause some problems today. But this is very, very important. It's a staple of our society. It is a reform project. Again, reform is to fix it permanently so it doesn't happen again. Okay. Also, families with lots of children, the disabled, helps those people out, the lowest members of society, to help them out, the people that need it the most. Okay, we'll go through this tomorrow. Helping urban workers, okay, again, these programs, they are recovery programs to help people get back working. You see airports, roads, bridges, sewing clothing, writers, artists. They actually started to employ people, photographers paid by the government. Go out and photograph what's going on in the Great Depression. And we're going to look at some great pictures from the Great Depression that really show what America was going through. Okay. Today we have a minimum wage. Okay. Why do we have a minimum wage? Partly because of Fair Labor and Standards Act. Okay, sets a minimum wage. Okay, sets a max work week, so your boss can't make you work 100 hours a week, and at least 25 cents an hour is something. And we looked at this yesterday, why this would be a good thing, because otherwise the companies are going to pay you whatever they want to. Because if you don't want to work for 25 cents, they'll get somebody to do it. Okay. Also puts in laws for kids, hazardous conditions, really to help the worker, okay? Help the worker that has a job not get exploited, okay? Now, the impact of the New Deal, the unemployment rate goes down by a lot, okay? But we don't get out of the Great Depression until we get into World War II. Okay, we get into World War II, and it just revitalizes our economy. We start building tanks, ships. I mean, our economy went crazy in World War II. Okay, and we're going to look at that. So the New Deal, you can see it does help, but it doesn't fix everything. We get out of the Great Depression because, essentially because of this guy. Okay, and you can see how this goes. All right, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. Okay, and we'll end with this picture. And we'll come back to this tomorrow, and I hope you have a great night, and I hope this helped you out.